In this video, I'm going to be dropping into PvP Legacy's Axe PvP mode 100 times. I consider myself to be average at PvP, so my goal was to win at least 75 of these games. This challenge was insane, and you definitely want to stick around until the end to watch what happens. Also, this is only the second video on the channel, and we already have 24 subscribers. So, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe too. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. So, 1.9 PvP generally centers around axes, shields, and crossbows. Shields block crossbows and axes disable shields. Jumping and attacking someone lands a critical attack, and running, forward, sprinting, and hitting someone deals more knockback than a usual attack would. Think of it like rock, paper, scissors. Axes beat shields, shields beat crossbows, and crossbows beat axes. The goal of these 100 drops is to learn something from my experience and to win at least 75 of these games. Let's head into game 1. Game 1 I played quite defensively as it was my first game and I really wanted to win. I won the game eventually on low health. Game 2 I decided to be more aggressive by shooting my opponent with my crossbow at the start of the game and also baiting him into disabling my shield, at which point my crossbow automatically shot. I was in a losing position game 3, but I managed to turn it around to secure 3 wins in a row. Game 4 was my first loss as my opponent was much better than me. I also lost game 5. Game 6, however, was a much better result as I clutched the game on low health. Here's how game 7 went. Well, I did need that. Game 8 had an unconventional result. Nice. I lost my balance in games 9 and 10 as my opponents crushed me. So far I've only won 6 games out of 10 and my win percentage should be 75% at the end of it. I'm quite far behind right now, but I'm sure I'll get there. I got back on my feet in game 11, but then I lost game 13 to someone who was much more accurate and consistent than I was. I won game 13 against someone who was trying to use his sword, and then games 14 and 15 were pretty one-sided and boring, because he kept trying to use his bow for some reason. I then continued with 6 more wins in a row. Sadly, my streak ended when this person sword comboed me for my first loss in a while. If you've made it this far into the video, thanks so much. It really helps when people watch until the end. Please be sure to do so, since the last 10 games are really intense, and you're not going to want to miss them. Also, now that you've seen some games of Axe PvP, now is probably a good time to explain sword combos, for those of you who don't know what they are. Jumping is perfectly synced with critical attacks in 1.9 plus combat, so if your opponent's shield is disabled and you manage to hit them 2 to 4 times in a row with the sword, with most or all of the crits being critical, you will most likely win the game as you have a significant health advantage. Strafing left and right makes it easier to do this and makes it hard for your opponent to hit you or run away. I am personally not able to combat against sword combos very well, and I can't exactly perform them myself, so here's a clip of my friend Mask doing one. His channel is in the description. Getting back to the 100 drops, game 23 was one of the hardest games I had in this whole run. I got down to half a heart, but luckily managed to clutch up with an axe crit at the end. Game 24 was a pretty one-sided game in my favor, but then game 25 was much more close, with me getting down to 2 hearts. Luckily I managed to hit the crit at the end and clutched up. I lost game 27 to a solid player, and then came back comfortably in game 27. Game 28 was really close, but I landed the perfect crossbow shot to start it. Games 29, 30, and 31 were all easy wins, but then this player ended my streak in game 32. Game 33 was an easy win, and then I almost choked game 34. Games 35 and 36 were also easy wins, and then I defeated my opponent on full health in game 37, and also won game 38 to keep the streak alive. Game 39, I'm playing my friend Prince, who's a lot better than me. You can tell that he's much more patient with his shield, and he's just more experienced in general. Game 40 was a pretty easy and one-sided game. Game 41, I lost the first round but came back solidly in the second. My opponent logged off, which really annoyed me at the time, but a win is a win. I was upset by the result of game 42. I was on 2 hearts and I thought I could crit my opponent before he could hit me, but sadly that just wasn't the case as he ran up to me quicker than I could. Game 43 was a very close game, but I saved myself with this rightward strafe. Game 44 was another straightforward game as I backstabbed my opponent at the end with a satisfying crit. Game 45 I played so well that my opponent instantly resigned. Game 46 I lost both rounds, and my opponent decided to end it with a nice backstab. Game 47 was actually pretty close, but I pulled off 2 wins and headed into the next game feeling confident. Game 48 was also one of the closest games in this entire run. I'll let you see it for yourself. However, I got outclassed in game 49 and game 50 had a similar result. So, I've only lost 12 games so far and that puts me at a 76% win rate. Not bad at all considering many of these people I've fought have been a lot better than me. So, let's look at the remaining 50 games and find out if I met my goal of 75% by the end. I won games 51 and 52 with relative ease and got crushed in the 2 games after that. I really thought I could win 53 and 54, but I must have just lost stamina or gotten tired for those 2. Games 55 through 59, however, I found my groove again, winning consecutive games. Game 60 was heartbreakingly close, with my opponent surviving on just around 1 heart. I also choked game 61 and 62, and my morale was at an all-time low. I got quite lucky in games 63 and 64, with my opponents missing many of their shots. I didn't get too lucky in game 65, as I lost by a small margin. Games 66 and 67 were pretty straightforward wins, but I choked game 68 after being sword comboed. Game 69 was really nice. It was the turning point in many ways, and it gave me the boost for the next few games. And by next few games, I mean that I lost 1 game out of the next 16. Unfortunately, I lost the footage for game 85, but this game was a loss. Game 86 was a fairly standard and easy win for me. Game 87 I also won quite easily, so I challenged my friend Masked, who I featured earlier in this video, to a 1v1. Unfortunately, it didn't go as I thought it would, as he beat me quite easily. I choked game 89 too, and after clutching up in game 90, it was time for my final 10 games. I had lost a total of 24 games so far, which meant I had to win at least 9 of my next 10 games to meet my goal of a 75% win rate. These 10 games were intense, since I knew that only 2 losses would mean I would fail this challenge. With the score tied 1-1, I knew I had to win this game to win the challenge. Let's see how I did. After what felt like an eternity, I had finally done it. 75% win rate and 100 drops of axe PvP. This challenge took a lot of stamina, and it was overall an emotional roller coaster, both to watch myself while editing this, as well as while playing it, obviously, because I was under a lot of pressure. So it would really mean the world to me if you could hit the subscribe button, like, and leave a comment, giving me feedback on what I can do to improve my videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.